Well, hey there everyone, it's Barry's Best Honey again. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to Southeast Louisiana. Well everyone, it is the 28th of January. We're almost to February. Another overcast, rainy, nasty weekend. Cool. It's between 50 and 55 degree Fahrenheit. So not a lot I'm going to be doing with bees at all. But I am going to do something. I don't know if you will remember back to when I did the end of the season. I had some dark supers. I was trying something out. My buddy Kenny does this, and I thought, well, I'm going to try it. I don't know if I like it necessarily for how I manage my bees, but it's pretty neat because, as you know, I store my supers, if they've got no brood in them, all out there in the open. I have no problems with wax moths. So the idea was the dark supers, the ones that did have brood in them, because I don't use excluders on so many of my hives, take those and store them back on top of strong colonies with queen excluders. Well, we didn't get super cold in December, so my plan was, after the wax moth threat has passed, take them off of there and put them away. Any bit of nectar they put in, because it was after the flow that I put them on there, if there was some nectar, we'll put it out there, the bees will rob it out. As long as they have enough in their single box, I'm good. So that was the plan, but now it's end of January. I still haven't pulled them off because I was waiting for the freeze, and then when we got the freeze, well, I ran out of good weather on the weekends when I was off. So that's what I need to do now, because what I noticed when I was shooting with my heat signature or my thermal imager, the heat signature was showing up on one of them, trying to go above that excluder. I don't want that. Never want that, because that leaves the queen behind. Hopefully what they do is they stay below it, but they're moving to food, so it tells me maybe they put something in the super. I don't know. So what I need to do is take those supers off of there, or I could pull the excluders and just leave them on and let them move in there. But I don't like running supers as brood boxes in my operation for how I do it. So the plan is pull them off, throw some nutrition on there while we have them open, fondant patty, probably some pollen sub this year because my bees went into winter so weak. I want to give them something to begin to build, and probably some super DFM while I have them open. Don't know how that's going to work because it's mighty cool, but they're still flying. So they're in that mood where they don't want to be messed with because they're beginning to cluster for the evening, but at the same time, they're active enough to really get after you. So we're going to go out there and give that a shot. If it doesn't work out too well, I'll throw a full jacket on, but we're going to try it without first. So, and then later, which I probably won't video, I got to go out and replace the fondant on those two little nukes that made it through the cold freeze. They ate that fondant fast, so I need to throw some on there. But this is a major deal because I don't want queens being left behind by the cluster by any means. Or I don't want the cluster to stay below because she can't get through, and now they don't get up to any food they seem to be seeking up there. But the hive felt heavy in the bottom when I picked it up, so they should be good. But I'll still put a fondant on there just to be on the safe side, because it is a single. We do have another month left. We will have another freeze, and they need to be set. All right, I'm gonna give this a shot. Let's see what happens. So as I said, the bees are flying. So I'm gonna use some smoke for sure today. This hive got a ton of weight in the bottom. But I expect them to be in this one down below. This one wasn't the one they were crossing up to the top, although I say that and I look at them. They're totally clustered in the top. So it's not good because that means the queen can't get up here. And when they're clustered like this, I really can't move them. They won't move that good. So we may have a situation on our hands. There's a little honey in here, but look at that cluster. Whew. So we need to get this. I wonder if a fume board would work in this cool temp. I might try it. I'm just gonna fume them real quick and see if that works. Let me cover them up. We don't want anybody to get rambunctious. You know how when you walk and you think, I got to walking and thinking and going, you know what? I got brood in this super anyway. Maybe I'll leave it on here because it's such a huge colony. This was a very good colony when I went through them. So I'm gonna see how bad this comb is. I hate to push them all down there for nothing. there's not that many bees up here. And they're really just, I don't even see any nectar up here. So it's not beneficial really to keep them in this. They'll cluster in a single. I just got to make sure I put a double on there, but I thought maybe I'll just leave it on, but shoot, I don't know. There's no nectar in here. They're just hanging out. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, there's a little bit in here, I'm sure, but they're just hanging out. No nectar at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to shake them. I'm going to see if I can fume them. And if I can, that's the easier way to do it. I don't know how well it works in this cold like this. So let's put this on, see if they'll go down some. I'll try it. And let's go look at the other one while this one's fuming and see if it's actually going to be able to be pulled off. But that's the one where I knew they were up there according to the signature. So let's go look at that one. Now this one, out of all my singles, it was actually the weakest. It wasn't very weak, it just was the weakest out of them. Because they had more honey than they had anything. So they're up there as well. Everybody's just kind of, these may have moved some honey up, but I don't know. Let's see if they're just working on any neck. No, that's empty. I can feel that. There's just a little bit of honey left in this box. But the bottom I know was full. And it still is. So these guys can go down too. I might shake these down. Look, small hive beetle. So I'm putting a pollen sub on. You're going to say, Mike, you're only putting half the sub on. Well, there's a reason. Right there, what you saw. Any warm days we have, those little jokers will lay as much as they can in there and try and infest my hive. And I don't want that. So let's take this super off. They didn't like that. Well, I got the excluder too. They're looking better than they did. Now this hive was spicy, I will tell you that. So we're going to get them on down in there. This was a, not mean, just a bit spicy. I want to make sure I don't have a queen on my excluder, because that would be detrimental at this time of year. I did not see one, so we're gonna leave this right here. There's a little bit of honey in here. But the rest is just empty comb that they're goofing around on. That's about it. One more frame and I got them pretty much all off of here. Look at there. That wasn't good. All right, let's get some nutrition on them. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this right here. This is Super DFM. They don't like Super DFM on them. There we go. A little Super DFM on them. I'm gonna do half a pollen sub. I'm not going to make them chew the paper just yet. I'm going to stick it on here like so. Now, the thing with pollen subs is that the small hive beetles love to lay eggs where the frames are, because the bees can't clean them out. You can easily make a shim that takes care of that. and raises it up so that the bees can take care of the pollen patties when the small hive beetles lay eggs. But I'm not going to make a bunch, and I'm not going to buy a bunch necessarily, so I don't normally feed pollen sub. But today we want to get them built. Although those look good, I'm pleased with those bees. And as I suspected, that fume board hadn't even moved them bees at all. So back to this one again. The fume board didn't touch them. I didn't think it was going to work. That stuff is really very dependent on heat. I'm starting to see why these bees were up here. I'm finding all kinds of hive beetles. So that's what they were up here doing, was guarding space. Well, that tells me they don't need this space. So we got to get them hive beetles on out of there. And I'm just shaking them. It's not working. I got to shake them down. They got hive beetles. These don't seem to be as rambunctious. There's hive beetles. There you go, right there. So that's exactly what they're up here for. Whoops, I dropped them in anyway. And boy, they don't like to let go. I just have to get them out best I can. Pull the excluder. I can smoke them down off of that. Let's do that. They could use some fondant. The other one really didn't need all that nutrition, but it ain't gonna hurt them. But I gotta watch them because they're gonna grow so fast in this warm weather, especially with that pollen. But my singles were very strong. They were about the strongest colonies I had. Kind of get it over with for them because they're probably like, why is all this cold air coming in our colony? Let's get it out of here. Let's see if we can get these off the excluder a little bit. This is not a great time to be doing this. The weather's not good, the temp's not good. It's not gonna hurt them as far as heat. They'll be fine. They'll regroup and regenerate, but it's not ideal either. But we're gonna fix them up. They're gonna be happy when I'm done, I think, because they're gonna have some good stuff in here. Gonna have some Hive Alive 15% fondant. That's what I'm using. I mean, Hive Alive 15% pollen, which is made from Global Pollen Patties. That's who Hive Alive partnered with. It's got the Hive Alive supplement in it, so that's good. All right, let's throw them down in here. Let's put a shim on. I'm using a lot of smoke just to kind of keep them at bay for right now. Again, half a patty of the Global Hive Alive pollen patties because small hive beetles. We will give them some super DFM. They don't like it when you sprinkle that on them. The last ones came out and popped my hand pretty good. I'm going to give them this with the paper on to see how they do. And how I do this stuff, you can do it label side. I got my razor kind of fixed. I just cut the label out pretty much. But you guys see me do this 100 times. Pull this off. We're going to give them this. Trying to lay it over. Here's the sun. That's nice. Lay this about where the brood nest is. So they have got Super DFM, they've got pollen sub, and they have now a fondant patty, and they're pretty heavy. Yeah, they got honey, but that'll definitely help them as we have another freeze coming soon. I'm happy with that. There you go. Okay, folks, that's what I'm doing today. I wanted to get those supers off of there. Again, they were for storage purposes. Now that the wax moth is pretty much done with, no need to worry about the wax moth, so I can store them. I stored them. I always feel guilty about taking that space away, but they couldn't use it anyway because I didn't allow the queen in there. And they're not going to go up there. They're going to stay with the queen in the bottom. but to go ahead and get them off now, because here in another 2 weeks, we might be putting a deep on them. The singles really don't need pollen subs because they are going well. They did go in. Those are the hives out of all my hives. Those for sure went in strong. A lot of my doubles didn't go in that strong. So they really don't need the pollen sub, but at this point, I'm going to give it to them. It's the global. It's what Hive Alive sells. They use their Hive Alive, and they sell, I think, like a 5% or 9%, and they sell 15% real pollen. It's a global pollen patty, so I use that. I bought them this year. I'm doing half because of small hive beetles. The problem with the small hive beetles is they lay eggs, and the larvae get up in above the frames so the bees can't patrol them. Now, they lay the eggs outside the frames, obviously, or they burrow in, but the larvae definitely burrow in, and we can have a very big mess very quick. The bees can't defend it, so they make a screen that sits above the frames. The bees can defend that. So that's why I'm kind of going half a patty. They're getting ready to cluster for the evening, but it's not bad putting the fondant on these, and I'll tell you why. What I've learned in my 11 years of beekeeping is the key to keeping them alive in the freeze, as you saw in my one video, is they need food. If they don't have food to move to, they're in trouble. While food on the sides is great, you want something above them. If they're out of food above them and they have to stay clustered too long, and they have to go too far to the sides, it's over. That's what saved my colonies, was having fondant on them when it was warm. They all got up there, started eating on it, and then they clustered up against it. Same with these. So putting that fondant on there is just a guarantee to make sure they're good, and it's giving them Hive Alive. So I'm giving them some nutrition. I'm giving them Hive Alive pollen as well, the global, of course, 15% pollen, and I'm giving them the Super DFM. While I'm in here, I might as well give them a dosage and take care of them. I think that's going to sustain them. I think that's going to take care of what we need to take care of. Going to have to be in these next week as well, double checking them. They're going to grow fast. They're going to grow fast. I'm going to go ahead and be done. I'm going to do another colony over there real quick, see how they stand. They're about the same as this one. They might be a little stronger. And then I'm going to go into town and do some stuff. But I just wanted to take you out, show you that. We're getting these bees taken care of. We're getting them some probiotics. We're getting them some pollen. We're getting them some Hive Alive. And we're getting them fondant with that. So there you go. Well, hey, look, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate all you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm still Mike. I still do bees, and I'm doing them. Even though I've told you over and over I don't do bees this time of year, I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. May God bless you. We'll see y'all later.